Good evening, everybody. I'm Ann Mahoney. I, too, want to thank the association for inviting us out tonight. I obviously think running for office is a very important thing, but I'd like to tell you a little bit of my journey on how I got to run for office. My husband Kevin and I were married 27 years this year. I found it to be a privilege to be able to come and live in Quincy again when we got married, living in my great-grandparents' house in West Quincy. They were the Ferreters from Valley Ferreter Dingle, and they lived on a peninsula, yet we live up in West Quincy in the high hills. So I think we should be in Swan, but you know, I'll take that up another day with them someday. Josie and Kate were my granddaughters. I used to go visit them every Tuesday for half-day visits from school, and they worked at the telephone company. They were very, very inspirational women. I didn't realize how inspirational they were until as I got older. They worked for the telephone company, and I knew they helped people in my neighborhood get through the Great Depression. But what I didn't know until I ran for school committee, and the reason why I ran for school committee was because of my husband and I discussing whether or not we could stay in Quincy to raise our children. My sister lived in Norwell, and we were thinking about moving from Quincy. But I had this huge privilege of living down the street from my parents, Joseph and Mary Mulligan. And the next thing I knew, not because I dreamed of it, I was running for Quincy politics. I was running for school committee. And the reason why I was running for school committee was because, like many of you in the audience, I was a parent and a taxpayer, and when I would call my city officials and ask them a question, they would tell me, that's what you wanted. And I thought, how do they know what I wanted? They never asked me. So I made it my journey to go out and ask everybody what they wanted for the schools. And 12 years later, I'm doing the same thing, a journey across the city of Quincy, asking everybody that I meet, and many of you in the audience tonight, I've been at your doors, and the first thing I ask you is, after I tell you I'm Ann Mahoney, is, what do you think's working, and what do you think we need to pay attention to so I can be your representative? Well, let me tell you, I've learned a lot, like I always do when I walk around the city. I've walked in all wards, all precincts, and I've been told many things, but I can tell you, there's a love for this city that goes really deep, whether you are a generational family that's lived here like myself, 4th generation, 3rd and to live in the house, my kids are the 5th, or you're new to the city of Quincy, like my mom, married 67 years, but she's still not from Quincy. But what I can tell you is, whether you're new or if you lived here forever, the questions are deep and the concerns are real. But the love is there too. The concerns I heard for the top 3 going throughout this city, I'll say top 4, would be traffic and road conditions. We talked about traffic and we talked about the ferry, we talked about a lot of things down here. The other thing is the development. And there's a development going on in every inch of our city. Now, nobody's anti-development. The concern isn't that we don't want development. The concern is that there's 4,500 apartments going to be online in the next 2 years, from the start of development until 2 years from now. The concern is, as we all know, because I think there's a few in the audience that might be with me, the economy goes up and down. When the economy goes down, people are very nervous about what's going to happen to those apartments that we're putting online. Taxes. Single-family homeowners, they're failing it. And my parents, 87 and 90 years old, still living in the homestead at 64 Sharma Street, they're failing it. Fixed-income families, new families to the city of Quincy that we want to have roots and stay. Much like my husband and I, 27 years, 23 years in our house, want to make sure those families stay. We're the old people in the neighborhood now. The other thing, it's not in the top 3, but it's a top concern. We talk a lot about economic development, and we talk a lot about storefronts, but we don't have much of it going on in Quincy, and we need double and triple down for that. So I'm Ann Mahoney. I'm a candidate for council at large. I love the city of Quincy, and I never dreamed I'd run for office, but I hope you too will help me become your next councilor at large by giving me 1 or 2 or 3 votes. Thank you very much.